So before we can actually start coding, we need to do a few things. First thing you need to do is you need to create a Discord account if you don't already have one. Once you have done that and you are logged in, you will see a very similar screen to this one. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to create your own Discord server. And if you already have a Discord server, you can skip this step. So let's see how we can do that. First of all, you need to click on this plus button, which will say add a server. You can create your own for me and my friends. And then you can say test server. Obviously, you can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to test it. So I'm going to name it test server. Once you're done with that, the next thing you need to do is go to the Discord's developer portal. Now, I'll put the link to this down in the description, but all you need to do is you need to go to Google and write Discord developers. And the first link should take you to this page, the Discord's developer portal. That's it. So it will take you to this page, and then you need to create a new application. Now we need to name this application. So let's say funny programmer bot. Okay, looks good. So after that, what you need to do is you need to click here to the bot and create a new bot. And yes, I want to do it. And there you go. This is your bot. It says a wild bot has appeared. That's cool. So you have actually created your own bot. Congratulations. So the next thing we need to do is we need to give this bot some permissions. So let's go to the auth over here and let's define the scope. The scope is that it's a bot, right? So just check that. And then you'll have some permissions that you can choose from. Now, I personally don't want to give the bot any administrator permissions because I don't want the bot to be able to remove or add users on its own. Maybe the kind of bot you are creating will need different set of permissions. But if you're doing the same thing as I am, all you need to do is you need to give it some text permissions. That should be enough. So we'll check all of them except just the TTS message. And we'll also allow the bot to view the channels. And that should be enough. Once you are done, you will see that this URL has been generated by the Discord for your bot. Now, all you need to do is just copy this URL, open this in a new page, and there you go. This is your programmer bot. And the next thing is obviously you just need to add it to a server that you own, that we already created at the starting of this video. So now you can select your own server, click on continue, give it some permissions, authorize them, and beep, beep, boop, boop. It will ask you if you're a human. Yes, I am. And that's it. You have finally added your own Discord bot into your Discord server. Let's check it out. If I go to my Discord over here, can I see it? Let's refresh this. And there you go. We have the test server. So earlier we had some other servers, but now this is the new test server. So yeah, and we can see that we also have our bot, but our bot appears to be offline. And why is that? Let's fix that right now. So as a confirmation, you can see that it says the funny programmer bot just slid into the server. So it confirms that our bot is actually now in the server. But as I said, we need to fix why it is offline. The reason it's offline is that we haven't actually coded the bot yet. We haven't actually coded the bot. We haven't hosted on a cloud. So we'll need to do all of that. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. We will show you a way that you can create this bot with less than 50 lines of code. You don't need to pay any cloud service, or you don't even need to know how to deploy something to the cloud. I'll show you a way where you can create and deploy your cloud directly into the cloud for free in less than 50 lines of code, and it's going to be fun. So let's go to Replit. So we are going to use a collaborative browser based IDE, which is called as Replit. It is our personal favorite. You are free to use anything you want. But as I said, it has many advantages. Now we need to create a new one. Obviously we have an account already. You might need to create a new account. After that, you need to click on the plus sign to create a new kind of application. Here we'll choose Node.js and let's just name it bot, or even better, Discord, funny Discord bot. Let's name it that. I'm creating it public because we are planning to share the link to this Replit in the description down below so that you can go and directly see the code and maybe copy and maybe, change the code according to your own need. So we'll share a link to that in the description. Don't worry about that. Let's create the REPL. And there you go. In a few seconds, we will see that our index.js file is created. This is the starting point of the application. And now I'll let Kritika do the coding part because she's a much better programmer than I am, and she'll be able to explain you how to actually code this thing. So I'll see you at the end of this video. Bye bye.
So let's get coding and start creating our bot. Okay, the first and foremost thing that we need to create our funny Discord bot is to require the Discord.js library. So I'm just gonna do a variable here called Discord. So how this Discord library works is, it basically works around events. So for example, if someone sends a message on your Discord channel, that will be an event. It's going to generate an event and you can catch that event and listen to that event. And then you can take appropriate actions. So in our case, we would like to reply to this event. So we're going to listen to the messages and then we're going to send back a reply. So the next thing that we're going to need is a client. So this will be a client of the discord.js library, and this will help us to connect to the Discord server and to talk to it. So I'm going to do a client and new discord.client. So I talked about different kinds of event that we can listen to and then take appropriate actions based on the events. So one of those events is the ready event. And what the ready event does is it tells us that the bot has successfully connected to our Discord server and it's ready now, basically to do stuff. So how we can listen to this ready event is we go client.on. So this is basically an event listener. What event do we want to listen to? So we want to listen to the ready event, and then as usual, it takes a callback function. For now, I'm just gonna put like a console log and make sure that the bot has connected successfully and that we're correctly listening to the ready event. Okay, so I'm also gonna log the client name here. So the name of our bot. So client dot user dot tag. Okay, so now that we have our ready event set up, we just need our client to log into the Discord server, and that could be done in a very easy step. So I will just use the login method on the client. So client.login, and then you put the key here. So this is the key that you must have gotten when Pranav showed you how to create your Discord bot. So you go to your developers page and then you just copy your key and you paste it here. But I would highly not recommend you to do that. So if you paste your key as a string here, it's gonna work. But this is basically your password that you don't want anyone else to know about. You want to hide it from the rest of the world. And how Replit works is the code on Replit is really accessible by the outside world. So anyone can see your key, anyone can use your key and control your bot. And you do not want that. So what you want to do instead is use an environment variable file and store your key as an environment variable and then use it. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So basically, to create an environment variable file, you just click on the add file button here and then you go .env. So how this environment variable file works is, this environment variable file is hidden. As you can see a dot in front of it, it's a hidden file and nobody else can see this file except for you. So now when you put your key here as an environment variable, only you will be able to see your key. So that's what we want and that's what we're gonna do now. So I am gonna make an environment variable called token and put an equals to sign here, and I'm going to assign this token the key that I got from my developers portal. So I go here, I copy the key and then I paste it. So that's my key and it's assigned to a variable called token. Now I'm going to show you how we can access this environment variable and use our key here. So to do that, you can go process.env and the name of your key. Sorry, the name of your variable, which is token. Perfect. So looks like we have the ready event set up and we've already logged in. Let's try and run this code and see what happens. Okay, so I hit run and seems like I was logged in successfully because I can see the console log that I put here. on the ready event. And let's go to the Discord channel and see if our bot is online. Okay, funny programmer. So awesome. We see our bot is online. Now we'll try to listen to the message event and we'll also send back a reply. So I'm gonna start a new event listener. So client.on, and this time I want to listen to the message event. In the callback, I'm obviously going to receive the message, and I am going to check the contents of this message. So message.content. And if I get hi, I would like to send back a reply. So your bot will actually type in a reply on the chat box. And how we can do is we can just send the message dot reply. We can set the message dot reply to any value that we want. So here I'm going to set it to hello. So if I get a hi, I'm going to reply with hello. And that is it. Okay, let's go ahead and test this code. So I'm gonna stop it and run it again. So looks like we have no errors. Let's go to the Discord chat here and I'm gonna type in hi. And there you go. So my funny programmer bot just responded with a hello message, and that's what we wanted. That's what we did here. And let us see if we type something else, what is it gonna do? So if I type in hey, there you go, no response. And that's the exact same behavior we wanted it to have. Okay, so far all the test code that we have written looks good. Everything's working. So let's start working on the actual functionality that is required from our bot, which is to send funny programming jokes whenever someone types the word joke in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so to do that, first of all, I'm gonna require the HTTPS library. So we go const HTTP. It's gonna be HTTPS, so I better type in the S as well. So this library will help us access the API from where we're gonna fetch our jokes. Next, I'm gonna store the URL I'm gonna use to fetch the jokes in a variable. So const API URL. First, we need to get the joke using our API URL. So I'm going to use the https.get method and I will pass in the API URL and I get a response back as the callback. So here's my callback, and then I have two events that I can put on the response. The first is on data. So if there was the API call and everything was successful and I received the data in the response. So I will receive a chunk of joke and then I can do whatever I want to do with this joke. So here I will just console log it for now. Now another thing that I can do is I can catch any errors that occur while using this API. So I'm gonna start another event listener here. So on error, oops. Okay. And in case I have an error returned from the API, I can console log it here. So let's test out this part of the code and see if everything is fine with our jokes API. Okay, so I run the code and you see you get a buffer here. So the chunk of data that you received is not usable as is because it is a buffer that has been returned from the API. Now we gotta translate it into a string and then we're gonna parse it into a JSON format. So what I do is instead of logging it directly, I'm gonna first store it in a variable. So this is my joke and I will convert the chunk to a string first. so that I could use the json.parse method here. And let's see the difference. I will console log the joke here. Okay, let's see the difference. I'm going to stop it and run it again. Et voila, you have the entire JSON object that is returned by the API now. And as you see, you have a category here. The error is false. So the result was appropriately returned. There's no error. We didn't go inside the error case. So that proves that there was no error. So the category is programming. Type is two-part. So it's always better to consult the documentation of the API that you use and to gather as much knowledge as possible about all these fields that can be returned inside the JSON object by the API. Okay, so I see a type here, a setup, and a delivery. So let's go to the documentation. I have it open here, and let's try to find the type. Okay, so you see select at least one joke type, single, two-part. So here I can see that the type that was returned was two-part, and there could be another type which is single. And if I go and search for two-part, what do I get? Okay, there are some examples here. Let's see the examples. For a two-part joke, there's a setup field here and there's a delivery here. So we need to handle the two-part jokes accordingly. Okay, so whenever we receive a two-part type, we're going to receive a setup and delivery field. But whenever we receive a single type of joke, we're going to just receive a joke field, and that will carry the joke. Perfect. So it's good to know these things so that we can make changes in our code accordingly. So for now, I'm going to just put a check here, maybe access the setup and delivery field and make it a little more prettier. So we go joke.setup, and then I want to log the delivery field separately. So this will be my delivery. I'm going to check for a type single as well. And then we just want to console log the type field. Sorry, the joke field, not the type. Because we saw that whenever the type is single, we're going to receive a joke field. So joke.joke. That's weird. I should have picked a better name for my variable, but it's okay for now. Let's see how this works. And there you go. Setup and then delivery. Perfect. So this works as we expected it to work. Let's see the next part. Okay, so for the next part of the code, what we're going to do is we're going to check the content of the message. So far we've been checking for the word hi, but now we actually want to check for the word joke or funny. Now here, instead of sending a reply, I would want to fetch the joke first. But I have the code here. So I have two options. I could either copy and paste this code here, or I could create a method and just call that method here. So I would go with the second one because it's more readable. Function here called fetch jokes, or maybe just a single joke because we're going to return one joke at a time. So fetch joke is a more appropriate name. And I will put all that code inside my fetch joke function. And I'm going to return a callback from this fetch joke method. So I'm going to return the entire joke object. When the type is single, what I want to return is the joke.joke field. And here, whenever there's an error, we need to return the error as well. Awesome. So looks like our fetch joke method is ready. We can return the joke from here or the error from here. So, okay, so what we want to do is we want to call this fed joke method, and then we want to send the reply, and I will pass the callback. Okay, well, there's a little mistake here. But first, I want to know if you were able to point out that mistake. Take your time, think about it. All right, so the mistake that I made was, so I need to return two different parameters. So I need to return the error first, and if there's no error, I need to return null. And if there is an error, I will just return the error. So as a rule of thumb, we return the error as the first parameter of the callback, and then we return the response if everything goes right. So now I can clearly check for the error. And if there is no error, then we get the joke. Okay, now I'm going to use a better name here. I'm going to put the name as a random joke, because it's only true we don't know what joke will be returned next. They're totally random. If there's an error, I just want to do message.reply, and we will write a good sorry message. Fun, right? Okay. And when there's no errors, we have successfully received the random joke. I want to return this joke. So I go msg.reply, and I'm going to reply with this joke, random joke. So looks like we have successfully fetched the joke using the API. And now we're also looking for keywords. The keyword is joke or funny that a user of your Discord channel can type in. And we're catching these keywords, and we're returning a reply. And if there's an error, we're going to return a sorry reply. So try again later. And if there's no errors, we're going to return the joke that we just fetched from the API. Perfect. So I'm excited to see how this works. So I will stop this and run it again. We can test it. We can say, I'm going to go on my Discord channel here, and I'm going to say joke. And nothing happened. But why is that? Oh, that's because we received an error. So we did receive our joke. We did print our joke here. So that means we were able to correctly receive the joke from the API. But there's an error here in the execution of our code which says uh, cannot send an empty message. Oh, okay. So let's see what's wrong here. So basically, this random joke variable here was empty, and nothing was returned from here. Let me try something else. Let me try to return, instead of returning the entire joke object, I'm going to just return the setup and the delivery fields. So setup and joke.delivery. Okay, let's see if this solves something. We go here, we type joke again. Et voila. You get your joke right there. So, okay, so I understand what was wrong here. Instead of passing the entire joke object, you have to pass on the specific fields. I want to return specific fields from this fed joke method. Okay, so everything looks good now, but okay, maybe I could do something more interesting with the two-part jokes. So I can make it look like there's two coders and they're having a conversation between themselves. So I will put coder 1 for the setup field, and coder 2 will deliver the rest of the jokes. So it's gonna be assigned to the delivery field. And let's see, I mean, this has nothing to do with the code. It's just to make this look more better and like visually appealing. So I'm going to stop it and run it again. And this time I'm going to try the funny keyword. All right. Not so bad. So this looks like a single field, single part joke. So you see the joke field was returned, which is when the type equals single. So that is why we cannot see the changes that I just did here. Let's try again. Let's try again with funny keyword. Okay, coder 1, joke setup plus coder 2, joke delivery. Oops, okay, looks like I made it a string and these are not recognized as variables again. Well, I can fix this really quickly because I use template strings here. So I want to use the special syntax to show JavaScript that these are variables. Okay, it's going to be better now. I'm going to stop it and run it again. Okay, just a quick test. Joke. Okay, I'm going to try again because I just got a single joke. All right, we got our two parts joke here. So coder 1 says this and coder 2 says this, but why do we have these extra plus signs here? Nope, that does not look good. I'm gonna get rid of them. Sure, let's run it again and see how beautiful our jokes look. Okay, we go joke, coder 1 and coder 2. All right, that looks better. That really looks better, but you know what can look even more better if I start the entire thing from a next line. So if I try to do this, let's see what happens. Rerun it. Well, I'm a fighter. I'm not gonna leave it until I'm like fully satisfied. Okay. And voila. It's perfect. It's perfect now. So there you go. And let's try with the other keyword as well. Funny. Amazing. All right. Let's try to type something else. Tell. And we should not receive a joke now. And we did not. So our bot works perfectly fine. Okay, so everything works so far as expected. Now let's try to do one last thing here. Let's try to return an error message from the fetch joke method and see if this message here, try again later alligator, is printed or not. What we're gonna do is we're gonna comment the jokes, the callback where we return the actual jokes. We're gonna instead call back something in the error field. And I want to do the same thing here. All right. And I'm going to rerun this and see the magic happen. So if I say, tell me a funny thing, and there you go, try again later alligator. So our error message is correctly printed. It's correctly, the bot is correctly replying with the error message. So that means all of our code is working perfectly fine as expected, and our bot is wonderful. It tells us funny jokes, sometimes not so funny. And now we can get rid of these callbacks here. Okay, so this looks like our final code. Okay, so one last thing, we also want to show you how you can keep your Replit repository always on so that your bot is always online and responding to the keywords funny and joke. So right now when you close your browser tab and you close the Replit repository, your bot will go offline after some time. So if you want your bot to be always running, there's a simple setting on Replit that you can use. If you go here and just toggle this always on button, so now your bot will always be on, as you can see here. So even if you close your browser, your tab, your Replit repository, it will still be working. And whenever you type the keyword, it's going to send you a joke. So with that said, you have created your own Discord bot and you should be really proud of it.